Hey everybody, Sam Davidson here with MEA Worldwide, and I am here with Brandon Larracuente, who of course plays Emilio in Freeform's Party 5. How you doing?
Good, thank you for having me.
I'm very excited because I'm super into this show. So much fun. Tell me how you got involved in the project, and did you ever watch the original?
I did not watch the original. I'm actually one of the only cast members who has not gone back to watch the original. I got involved in the project just like any other actor in LA. I auditioned for the role. Went through a few callbacks, went through a few testing processes, which is super stressful on me. I don't think I've ever been more stressed in my life during that entire process, but I actually found out that I booked the role while going through TSA on the way to Paris. So it was cool. It was like an end to a long week of stress, and I was on my way. I said, if I book it, I book it. If I don't, life goes on.
Yeah.
And I found out, I got the call.
And there's so many reboots these days. Just about every single iconic show is or has been reboot. You know, how do you think that this one is different? You know, of course, besides the obvious change in the storyline, but what else new do you think that this cast and the show itself brings that the original didn't have before?
Well, I think it's a bit more timely than the original because it does deal with the immigration process and whatnot. And also, the beauty about this show is that the parents now are alive. So while in the original they had passed away by means of car accident, now parents can kind of relate to this story because the parents are just as involved in this storyline as the kids are. So anybody from the age of, I don't know, from 1 to 100 can watch the show and relate to some type of character because, you know, there's relatability for everybody no matter who watches.
Yeah, and you know, something I think is interesting, kind of an existential question, is that the first series, the original, is so sad. Their parents have died. This situation is also very sad because the parents are taken away from them. So did you guys ever question, you know, which situation is more tragic? Is it more tragic that the parents are actually alive but they can't be together? You know, did you debate that at all?
I think both scenarios are devastating, you know, and there are people who are going through this every day. Either they lose their parents by means of a car accident or by means of deportation. But I mean, for me personally, I couldn't imagine losing my parents just in general. You know, my parents have been that voice of reason for me growing up. So to grow up without parents, whether you have them with you, but by means of maybe Skype from Mexico or by losing them in a car accident, either way is very hard, you know. I rely on my parents for a lot of my mental health to help me get through some hard times in my life, so I can't imagine those children who have to go through this on a daily basis.
And so now we are in the second half of the season, and we are talking to the parents a little bit more via Skype and all of that. Will their presence and kind of what's going on with them in Mexico continue to be a bigger factor, you think, as the final episodes of the season come up?
Absolutely. The parents, as audiences and yourself have seen, are more and more involved, and they will continue to be as the series progresses. Yes, I mean, with the struggle between the Acostas is that they're trying to parent from Mexico, and they're not allowing the siblings to kind of fend for themselves. So I believe in previous episodes, Beto, my youngest brother in the show, has to have a phone call with his mom telling her that she needs to take a step back. So while yes, they are involved, as any other parent would be, without really wanting to have to take a step back in order to let these children grow up.
And so your character obviously steps up in ways that he was not prepared for. How did you relate to that, you know, given your real life or your real life experiences, and kind of really focus on how to apply yourself to the role?
Well, me being the youngest out of all my siblings, I have a brother and a sister. It was different for me being, you know, playing the oldest. But I think one of the things that I relate to Emilio is he's not afraid, maybe not at first, to be the leader. You know, he's not afraid to be different, and that's kind of where I relate to him. All my life, I like to believe that I play a leadership role among either my close friends or peers, and that's one that Emilio's not afraid to, you know, kind of dive into, sink his teeth into. So I think that that's how I definitely relate to him.
And so we get a little bit of background on all of the characters when the show starts, but you know, we don't really know exactly what your day-to-days looked like when the parents were still around. We know that you were a musician and you had a lot of ladies. So what kind of background work did you do on this character to think about what your character's life looked like before this all happened?
Well, prior to filming the pilot, I sat down with Amy and we just spoke. We spoke about the trajectory of the character and where he's going, and also the backstory. And what I came up with, what I kind of developed in my own head, was that Emilio had a falling out with his father years ago because his father never supported his dreams of being a musician, which forced him to then move out of the house when his younger siblings were just very, very young, which is why when he finally decides to come back into their lives, they're very hesitant to kind of accept his newfound role as the father figure, quote unquote. Because they're a bit resentful towards him, they feel like he left them or abandoned them, when in reality he just wanted to go chase his dreams. And whether whether his father supported his dreams or not, Emilio still made that jump. But also I think he's showing tons of growth throughout the season 1. He's deciding now to come back, whether he wants to or not, and he's kind of making sacrifices, same sacrifices that his father made when they came to this country years ago, crossing the border.
Yeah, and so as far as the cultural impact of this show and the storylines, and right now we're getting to see more of that ICE storyline and everything that's happening to people in this country, that are from Mexico or not here. Like, what kind of research did you do, and what was the most fascinating thing that you found out through your research about all of this that you didn't know before?
Well, Nico, Emily, Elle, and myself would send each other articles periodically via text. That way we can stay up to date with what's going on. We can educate ourselves because we're sinking our teeth into something that's not fictional. It's happening every day. So we really, really try to do as much research as we could. That way we can kind of pay respect to those people who are going through this every day. We would send each other articles. I think the biggest one that I found was the fact that DACA students or DACA recipients are not guaranteed citizenship, which is something that I was surprised to know because prior to that I had no idea that did not guarantee you citizenship into this country. So, and that's also something that Amy, hopefully going into a season 2, if we do get one, will have to write differently because depending on what happened at the end of this year or at the beginning of this year with the DACA program, Amy will have to kind of tweak her writing depending on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so just to touch on your love life a little bit on the show, you do have different relationships we see. Do you think becoming this new father figure, patriarch of the family has really made you want to find your character, want to find that partner, or want to be alone and work on this on his own?
I don't want to reveal any spoilers, but up until this point in the series, Emilio really hasn't had a focus on women in general. I feel like Vanessa, the hostess who came to the restaurant, she kind of just in a way came on to him. He wasn't really focused on that. He was stressed out about having to take care of a family, also running a restaurant. So at this point in the series, no, Emilio's focus is not that. It's just to take care of the family and be the father and the brother at the same time that these parents or these children need.
Yeah, and so the stakes get higher and higher every episode. In the 5th episode, we saw the baby, the youngest of the 5, go to the hospital, and that really made things very scary. Without giving away too much, will other kind of life-changing or eye-opening events that are kind of scary continue to happen in these last few episodes?
Yeah, we'll see things unfold as the series progresses. I mean, definitely, not just regarding the baby, but regarding Beto's character and Valentina's character.
Yeah.
She's at the end of the episode that premiered last night. We see that she's having an identity crisis. She wants to be this person who she's not because she feels like she'll be more well-liked around her peers. So yes, definitely, each character will go through their own battles.
And any more little musical numbers from you, perhaps besides you having a, poncho on and a sombrero?
Yes, we will. Emilio will, despite him kind of setting his career, his passion aside to take care of the family, he does dabble a bit and he gets back into the guitar, but we will see that as the series progresses.
Awesome. Well, I'm having my fingers crossed for a season 2 because I love this show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, thank you for having me.
And guys, please make sure to tune into Party of 5 on Freeform at 9 p.m. on Wednesdays for the final few episodes. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, guys.